Hello, hello, and welcome to Etiquette Conversations with EFI and Shirley, where we redefine modern etiquette one conversation at a time. Today, I have my co host with me.
Yes,
Ma-
Shirley Shalaby. Hello, everybody. I am very proud to co host Effie on one more favorite subject of ours. And it's the subject of now, of the day, globalization, living in a globalized world, and how to tackle it by having more knowledge about intercultural etiquette, multicultural etiquette, or global etiquette. This is what is needed now that young people travel more often. Cultures are exposed to other cultures instantly through social media. So, indeed, we need intercultural etiquette because our globe is becoming like a colorful tapestry where all cultures live in coexistence, in dialogues, instant dialogues. How to tackle all that, how to converse with the entire world. Indeed,
Thank
we
you.
need those classes.
Thank you, Shirley. To our audience, today we're embarking on a fascinating journey across continents. I call it Round the World in 45 Minutes. Across
Mhm.
continents to uncover the essential principles of multicultural etiquette in a globalized world. It is obvious now more than ever that the world is more interconnected and we're engaging in business overseas, we're studying in another country, or simply traveling for leisure. Understanding and respecting cultural differences is no longer optional. In this globalized world, the ability to navigate different cultures with sensitivity and grace is no longer optional. It is essential. Today, as you are aware, our topic is crossing borders, mastering multicultural etiquette in a globalized world. We intend, like Shelley has said, we intend to help you develop the awareness and skills to interact confidently and gracefully with people from all walks of life. But before we dive in, I'm just going to say welcome, sit, make sure you have your notepads because my veteran friend and I are going to do justice to this topic today. I invite at this time Shirley to join us. However, we're going to go on while she comes again. Mastering multicultural etiquette will help you to develop the awareness and skills to interact confidently. Now, over the next 45 minutes, we'll dive into cultural nuances across continents. We'll unpack practical etiquette tips and explore the values that bind and distinguish us as human beings. Now, remember that without multicultural etiquette, you may be offending people without realizing it. And so you want to stay, you want to stay engaged, you want to observe that people will notice what you say about them and their cultures. Multicultural etiquette is about knowing people, that people have their identities, the way they do things, and it's about respecting them. Welcome, Shirley.
Hi, hello. Very happy to co-host you on the definition of multicultural etiquette. This is the kind of etiquette that we are offering through workshops, through lectures. It is the set of norms that are universal, that are needed all over the world. It's a set of practices, of rules. Some are written, some are not written. Some rules are accepted in one culture and then they are not accepted in another culture. And that is exactly our subject today. Now, we will try as usual. We get into examples to make it very easy for people to understand our idea. So we will tackle the subject of multicultural etiquette in all the lifestyle of our life. So for instance, fashion, dining skills, and of course, communication, verbal and non-verbal communication, because all these practices are a kind of communication indeed. If I start with fashion and dress code is usually a representation and emblem. It's the emblem of a society. Dress code represents the history and the heritage of a country. So if we are aware of the dress code, we can navigate those cultures in our travels. We are less surprised, we are more engaging, and definitely we have more confidence. Dress code like what? Like the kilt in Scotland, like the sari in India, like the kimonos in Japan, and again, the veil in many Middle Eastern countries and some parts of the Far East. Veil is a dress code. If we have a knowledge about it, if we are exposed to it, and then we visit those countries, we can really engage very nicely and stop living in our bubble. No one can live in his own bubble anymore because the world is all in one piece. If we move to fashion, fashion is a kind of communication. Fashion is a representation of the history of a country. Fashion is representation of the heritage of a society and the socio-economical situation. If we give the example of the 60s and the 70s, do you remember what was the idea? The idea was the launch or the birth of feminism. Women were feminists. So this was reflected in fashion. It was the launch of the jeans, of the bell-bottom trousers, of the floppy hats, of the unisex clothes. Even fashion designers got influenced by all that. Someone like Yves Saint Laurent, he created in 1966 the iconic tuxedo for women. Yves Saint Laurent mentioned, and he said, a woman is no longer une femme objet, is no longer an object. A woman can be beautiful and yet dress like a man. So fashion is a means of communication, definitely, and it's a big knowledge in which our multicultural etiquette educates us and teaches a lot of things. Together with that, multicultural etiquette gives us recipes of success. Multicultural etiquette teaches ladies how to own a durable wardrobe, a wardrobe that can travel with her everywhere, resisting to the societies, to the weather, to everything. What's this durable? It's like a basic wardrobe that every woman would need if her life needs some traveling or some exposure to other countries. What is this? Number one, every woman should or would own an LBD, which is the little black dress. But of course, it should not be too tight or not too short, but it's a passe-partout. It can go with any society. And again, a blazer with a neutral color that is gray or navy or black. You can dress it up and down. You can wear it on the jeans and wear it on the silk trousers. And of course, owning a pair of jeans, they go everywhere. Owning a button-down white shirt or a blanc cassé, if depending on the color of her skin, and this white shirt you need it everywhere. Owning a trench coat with a neutral color that goes everywhere. So all these things together with a pump, a pair of shoes, closed, black, with heels that are not too high and really comfortable. And of course, a leather bag, purse. Having all that, this is a means of success through which you can navigate all societies and you can travel and be accepted in any any society. Food and eating is a communication. Food and eating is a means of communicating with the entire world. Um, Multicultural etiquette makes us aware of the traditional dishes of every society. Uh, Traditional dishes are a reflection of the history of the country, of the traditions, and of the habits and of the customs. One has to be aware of that and try them and engage and encourage them and not and become adventurous. Absolutely. Dining skills, indeed, they differ from one area to another. If they are the same movements or the same aspects are accepted in one society and yet not accepted in another society. C'est la vie, that's it. If we talk about dining skills in the Far East, for instance, China, dining skills or table manners is based on respect. Respect. The first people who are served and who sit at the table are the elderly people. And again, they are always philosophy, which it interferes in a lot of things, like how to hold the chopsticks, not to hold them very upright to eat the rice. So that is the Chinese culture. But Far Eastern, in general, it's based on respect. If we move to North America, the way of eating and their dining skills, Americans, they could have a very traditional table, amazing table, but yet the dialogue is always casual. They are casual in their dialogue, and this is their power. That's North American. Europeans could be less casual than, of course, North Americans. If we talk about dining skills, for instance, in France, food is a joy. Food experience is an enjoyable experience. Serving food is like an event. Every meal is an event. And many of them, till now, they think we don't do business around the table. It's an enjoyable event, even pouring the wine, eating everything and taking our time. That's with the French people. So indeed, being aware of all that, you can navigate those cultures with a lot of success. Back to again, what else do they cover with the subjects of multicultural etiquette? Of course, communication. This communication is becoming so fast and so dense, verbal and non-verbal through social media. But everyday communication differs from one area to another. Um, um, North Americans, their nonverbal communication differs a lot from the Far Eastern. Far Eastern, they use their North Americans have their words and they are extremely casual. We can specify the Canadians, the French Canadians, they're so unfamiliar with their words. And the more unfamiliar they are, the more loving and respectful. This is how it is. French Canadians call people with their first name, and they use the tu instead of vous. Like they don't use very sophisticated words in order to deliver a message, and yet they are very proper in their own way. Of course, nonverbal, if we move to the nonverbal in general, because nonverbal communication is very important. You see it, you judge people, and then you decide you like them or you don't like them. In North America, we know that they cherish their space. In the Middle East, um, not very much. They're used to closeness and touching. And again, if we talk about the Middle East and their eating habits, back to the dining skills, they believe in hospitality. They believe in generosity. A table that is full of food, and the guests have to finish the food, otherwise the hostess is insulted. So one has to be very careful while eating with Middle Eastern, not to fill the plate very much, because indeed you have to finish the food. So many lifestyle things are represented by that beautiful subject, and indeed it will need a lot of episodes in order to cover all that. But among the many things, the many advices that multicultural etiquette gives us, it's to be prepared, as I said, with your wardrobe, to be prepared with your movements, non-verbal movements, to be prepared with a set of vocabulary, and it's all lifestyle. That makes it very appealing. Back to you, Effie.
Oh, wow, Shirley. Thank you so much. That's why I call you my veteran friend. Now, before I dive in, I want to set the stage for me in understanding why
There
multicultural
are
etiquette is important.
also more subjects
Globalization.
that are
Uh,
covered. Let me see. Uh, Also, there are advices that are used all the time in every country and in every travel. Meaning what? There are basic etiquette principles would navigate all societies and navigate all cultures. Meaning what? Like, for instance, if you're at the table, you do not put your elbow at the table. This goes all over the world. You do not put a heavy purse and a heavy bag on the table. You avoid applying lipstick at the table. You do not comb your hair at the table. There are subjects that you avoid again when you are at the table. So these are all the elements of success that are presented by multicultural etiquette, and we can talk more and more about it. Thank you for
Thank you
now.
very much, Shirley. Thank you very much. Before I dive in, I want to set the stage by understanding why multicultural etiquette is so important in our world today. As you are aware, globalization has turned the world into a village. International trade, migration, technology have brought devices, cultures together more than ever. But with this closeness comes the challenge of navigating differences in communication, values, and traditions. Missteps, even unintentional ones, can lead to misunderstandings, lost opportunities, or hurt feelings. On the other hand, when you master multicultural etiquette, what you'll be doing is you'll be building bridges, you foster understanding and stand out as a person of grace and professionalism. Now, I'll take mine in segments and I'll say understanding cultural foundations. Now, as we are aware, etiquette is a set of accepted behaviors that shows respect and consideration for others. But it's more than just manners. It's deeply tied to our culture, history, religion, geography, and our values. To navigate multicultural etiquette settings successfully, we must understand that some foundational cultural differences exist, and we'll explore this. Now, we have what we call high context cultures and low context cultures. In high context cultures like Japan or Saudi Arabia, communication is subtle and much is left unsaid. There are silences. Relationships and trust matter more than mere words. In low context cultures like the United States or Germany, communication is direct and explicit. Clarity is valued over ambiguity. Now, imagine a business setting or a business meeting. Imagine a business meeting. Sorry, Shirley was off there, and we'll get her back soon, I'm sure. Now, in Japan, just imagine a business meeting that you have gone into. Silence could be interpreted as hesitation. Understanding this difference can prevent misunderstanding. Now, to someone who is from a low context culture, When you get into a meeting and you experience silence, what you get is you feel that there's a misunderstanding and there's miscommunication. Now, in individualistic and collectivist cultures, um, such as Australia and in the Netherlands, independence and personal achievements are more emphasized. In collectivist societies like China or Nigeria, group harmony, shared responsibilities are prioritized. These values influence everything from decision making to workplace dynamics and social interaction. Now that we have laid a foundation, let's journey around the world to explore the unique customs and cultures that define different regions. So, in my segment two, what I'll be discussing is continental insights into multicultural etiquette. It is said that every continent has a tapestry of cultures, each with its own unique etiquette rules. So, let's break them down region by region. In Japan, bowing is an art. A deeper bow conveys respect. Now, you have to be mindful of the context, whether it's a casual greeting or a formal meeting. Business cards or meshi are exchanged with both hands. Never write on the card when it is given to you or just put it in your pocket. It is considered disrespectful. So if you're in Japan, when you're given a card, you want to look at it, make some or observe it very well. That shows the person you are really looking at it. Because when you just put it away, it is considered as disrespectful. Another thing is gift giving. Gift giving is an important tradition over there. You want to wrap gifts beautifully, and when receiving one thing you have to do is politely you will refuse at first. It shows humility. You will accept it, but try to refuse at first. Understanding these cultural values and etiquette when you in Japan will really help you. Now let's look at India. The traditional greeting of Namaste involves placing your palms together and bowing slightly. It symbolizes respect. When dining, also use your right hand to eat. The left hand is considered unclean. You want to also be mindful of dietary restrictions, especially vegetarianism, where which is prevalent due to religious beliefs. In China, punctuality is a sign of respect, especially in business setting. When giving gifts, you want to avoid giving clocks as gifts or anything associated with the number 4 as it symbolizes death. Address people by their titles and wait for them to offer a handshake first. People over in China, they consider, Shirley calls it their personal aura. You don't really, body, touch is not something that they do very well. So when you go to China, please note this and don't touch people. I know that some people are very affectionate, but try not to touch people. In Nigeria, where I come from, greeting is very essential. We take it very seriously. A firm handshake and addressing elders with titles like Sir, Ma is a sign of respect. So if you're talking to someone in Nigeria and you address as yes, sir, yes, ma, especially your elders, it's something that they would consider very respectful. Hospitality is ingrained in us. Always accept food or drink when offered. And you don't ask people in Nigeria, if you ask people, will you eat? They will say no. If you have food, offer it to them. Give them water, give them food, especially when someone comes into your house. As the person sits down, you bring water to the person so that the person relaxes and then you give food. Refusing our hospitality may seem rude. We go again to South Africa. Relationships come first in business settings. So take time to establish rapport before diving into transactions. In multicultural settings, be mindful of the different traditions among the groups, the Zulu, the Xhosa and the Afrikaans community. In Egypt, I wish Shirley was here. Okay, she's back here. In Egypt, and she will agree with me, hospitality is a cornerstone for Egyptian culture. If invited to someone's home, it's customary to bring a gift. You want to dress conservatively, especially when visiting religious sites or formal gatherings. Now we go to Europe. In the United Kingdom, they really value order. So queuing and waiting for your turn is something that they value. Also, punctuality in is important for business meeting, but not as strict as in social settings. If we move to France, greetings are formal, a light kiss on both cheeks or a firm handshake. Dining etiquette is key. Never split the bill in formal settings. The host traditionally pays. We go to Germany. Germany values precision and punctuality. Being late, even by a few minutes, is frowned upon. You want to address people formally using their titles like her or for until they invite you to use their first names. You want to avoid using people's first name. In America, in the United States, time is money. So you want to be concise and direct in your communication, especially in business. Tipping is customary. 15 to 20% is expected in restaurants. So know that when you go to purchase or when you go to eat or dine outside. In Brazil, Brazilians are very expressive. You want to expect warm hugs or cheek kisses as greetings, even in professional settings. Arriving late to social events is acceptable. Punctuality is more relaxed in Brazil. In Canada, Canadians are known for their politeness. Words like sorry, thank you are frequently used. Cultural norms are a blend of British and American influences, which added emphasis and inclusivity. In Oceania, that's Australia and New Zealand, will be our next point of call. Australians value friendliness and informality. First
Very
names are
friendly.
often used even in professional settings. So you want to respect indigenous customs such as acknowledging the traditional owners of the land. The Maori Hongi people for in New Zealand, they press their noses together. It symbolizes the sharing of bread. Sustainability is a cultural priority in New Zealand. So be mindful of your environmental practices if you are there. And I want to use a personal experience in my presentation now. I want to use a personal experience. In Nigeria, we have after you finish your university, you have to serve the nation compulsorily for 1 year. And I was posted to the north of Nigeria. And going
Mm-hmm.
there, first of all, I would just want to because I was coming from the South and I wanted to behave like a Southerner. That was my identity. But I realized that you have to dress like them um, to show that you accept them, the Hausas. And today I speak that language. And for them, speaking their language shows you have accepted them, that you appreciate them. So, me learning the language, and it's really easy. It's pronounced as spelled. So I learned the language, and when I'm going to some traditional settings, I dress like using the veil and all of that. It shows that you respect them, it shows that you love them. And so when you're going to any society, please try to reset, do what you can so that you remember etiquette. What we're saying in etiquette here is respecting other people's language, their value system, their history, and all of that. At this time, I want to invite Shirley for further comments. Hello, Shirley. Hello, Shirley. Are you there? Okay, Shirley seems to be having internet challenges today. Now, I want to now talk about practical tips for navigating cultural etiquette. As we conclude our topic today, let's look at some practical tips for navigating multicultural etiquette. If you are going into any place, research and prepare. If you're going to France, that's the key. Just take a little time. It shows you're respectful. Take some time, read and research about the people. What are their value systems? What do they like? What don't they like? How do they greet? How do they do things there? And prepare. Learn basic phrases in the local language. Understand key cultural do's and don'ts. Just take a small, just the internet, as we said, the world is a global village today. Take some time, go to the internet. What do these people love? How do they greet? Just learn about it. And when you go there, you see that um, you'll observe that you will be able to interact without stress. Next is observe and adapt. Pay attention to body language, tone, and social cues. Be humble and curious. Do not think that your own cultural ways are superior to the ways of the other person. Be humble, be curious. If unsure about anything, ask questions, but ask them respectfully with the intention to know and not to condemn how they do something. When I used to live in the northern part of Nigeria, my mother had visited and she was presented food. And all she did was ask respectfully how it was food she had never eaten. And she asked my mother over there, she asked her, how is this food prepared? And she ate the food, and they were very pleased that she ate the food. So people appreciate genuine interest in their culture. Also, be flexible, embrace differences rather than viewing them as obstacles. And as a final thought, I want to say multicultural etiquette is very broad. Try to embrace differences from other people while you say yes. For instance, in I think Albania, they would tilt their head this way to say no. And I think that's the same thing in India as well, considering. And then the nod in Albania says no. The nod in Albania, which in my culture would be yes, in Albania would be no. So you want to just learn these little things so that you're able to seamlessly interact in other societies. Final thoughts: cultural sensitivity fosters unity, it fosters trust and mutual respect in a globalized world. Next week, we'll be discussing the part two of multicultural etiquette, dealing with cultural sensitivities. It's not just about avoiding offense, but we want to build bridges that celebrate diversity. Until next week, when we'll be coming with crossing borders, mastering cultural sensitivity for interaction. I am your host, Afi, and I know we've lost Shirley along the line, but we we apologize and we'll get her back. And you know, she's the veteran, like I always call her. Thank you very much, and have a nice day. Bye for now.